This episode of BWM is produced by CENTCOM Entertainment.
What's up? Thanks for bearing with me. I am Herb Howard. The Chicago Bears opened their 2019 season yesterday at home with an extremely disappointing loss to the Green Bay Packers, a game in which, in my opinion, the Bears did not lose. They just didn't win. It's not like the Packers made play after play to beat the Bears. The Chicago Bears on offense simply didn't make any plays to win the game. Often when you're thinking about a team not making plays to win the game, you go to the end of the game because those are the plays that are fresh in your mind. But for me, the Bears didn't take advantage of plays and opportunities that they had early on in the game, and that is the reason that they were not able to walk away victorious. The Bears came into this game with all of the momentum. They had beaten the Green Bay Packers at Soldier Field late last season to clinch the NFC North. They come into this season with high expectations and genuine Super Bowl aspirations. It was electric in the stadium. The crowd was extremely hyped. They had all of the momentum, and great teams come out and step on your throat. They erase any hope, any doubt. They don't want to give the incoming team any chance of thinking that they can actually come away with the victory. That is what great teams do, especially in rivalry games. Any team in the NFL, if you give them hope, they can hang around the game. But especially in rivalry games, especially in a game versus the best quarterback to ever play this game, the Bears missed their opportunities to come out and seize control of this game early. There were 4 key plays that happened early on in the game that, to me, were the difference in winning and losing that football game last night. The first key play came on the Bears' first punt return. The Bears defense opened the game with a suffocating series versus the Green Bay Packers. The Packers got the ball, and on consecutive downs, the Bears got tackles for loss, forcing an early punt after they pinned the Green Bay Packers back deep. On first down, Roquan Smith shot into the backfield, got a tackle for loss. On second down, Roquan Smith shot into the backfield, got a tackle for loss. On third down, Roy Robertson Harris, who has turned into an absolute beast, completely dog-walked the Packers left guard right back into the lap of Aaron Rodgers. He then lunged at him and completed the sack with a one-handed tackle. It was phenomenal defense. The crowd was absolutely electric. And if the Bears had taken this ensuing punt back for a touchdown, it would have completely blown the doors off of Soldier Field and let the Green Bay Packers know immediately they had made a mistake by coming to this game. Unfortunately, Tariq Cohen was not able to take that punt back. He did catch the ball with enough space to be able to make some moves, and ultimately he took it around the left side for about a 10 or 12-yard gain, setting them up in good field position. But if they were able to take that punt back following that phenomenal series of defense, it would have really set the tone for the entire game, and in my opinion, would have destroyed the Packers' confidence early in the game, and it would have been over from there. Now, on that ensuing drive, the Bears still had an opportunity with great field position to go down, get some points, and again, eliminate any hope that the Packers had of coming in there and stealing that win as an underdog. But on second down and 10 from the Green Bay Packers 40-yard line, Mitchell Trubisky inexplicably chose not to shovel the ball to tight end Ben Broniker. It was a simple read play where Trubisky reads it, and depending on what the defense does, he can either give it to the running back or he can shovel pass it inside to Ben Broniker coming around as the tight end. It is a play that the Bears ran very effectively several times last year, and it was there. They had exactly what they wanted. Had he simply shoveled the ball to Ben Broniker on second and 10, he would have gotten the ball and easily run for a first down. Instead, Trubisky chose to scramble. He ran around to his right side and took a vicious shot from former Bear Adrian Amos right on his right shoulder. Adrian Amos was fired up to play this game, and that gave him a little bit more motivation. Ultimately, Adrian Amos was able to seal the game late with the fourth quarter interception in the end zone. But that play right there in that first series was a very key play. On the very next play, 3rd and 9 after Trubisky's 1-yard scramble, new center James Daniels, the second-year offensive lineman out of Iowa, he just switched over to center. Last year he played left guard and did it at a very high level. This year they decided to switch he and Cody Whitehair. Cody Whitehair going to left guard, James Daniels coming over to center. He was playing his first game starting at center yesterday, and quite frankly, he didn't do a very good job. On this 3rd and 9 play, He allowed a free rusher to come straight up the A-gap. It was a miscommunication. It was a misread. He wasn't sure how he was going to pick up the blitz that was coming from the Green Bay Packers and either misread it or miscommunicated with his teammates because Blake Martinez came straight through the A-gap between James Daniels and right guard Cal Long. Neither of them picked him up, nor did they block anyone else. It was a complete breakdown. Blake Martinez came through for the easiest sack of his career and ended the Bears series right there when they had the opportunity for the Bears to go down and get some points. But now they've also given the Packers defense momentum to say, hey, the Bears defense is going to dominate, but so are we. We're going to be in this game just the same. You also gave Aaron Rodgers a bit of a reprieve. He had dodged that first bullet from the defense and said, okay, we get a chance to reset. We get the ball back here again. Give us another opportunity. What happens, though, the Bears defense, they go out there and they dominate them again. Another 3-and-out that ended with a Leonard Floyd sack, again, pinned the Packers back deep. The Bears get the ball back, we go down and get a field goal. And then we come up to what, in my opinion, was the fourth key play that happened early in the game, preventing the Bears from winning the game. Eddie Pinheiro, he comes out, he makes his first official kick for the Chicago Bears. The stadium was excited because, all the pressure and everything that's been going on with the Bears kicking situation this offseason. He made the field goal, but then on the ensuing kickoff, he kicks the ball out of bounds, effectively taking away all of the field position and the momentum that the Bears had gained early in that game. You kick it out of bounds, the Green Bay Packers now get the ball at the 40-yard line, and though they weren't able to advance the ball again on our defense, it had already flipped the field position, and by the time we got the ball back, we were starting our drive from our own 4-yard line, and all the momentum, all the energy that was in that stadium had been sucked out, and we no longer had the momentum to say, okay, we're going to snatch control of this game early and eliminate any possibility of the Packers hanging around. Those 4 plays were extremely key, and they stand out to me as 4 of the most important plays and most important reasons why the Bears did not win that game, and they happened early. The Bears had a great opportunity to seize control of that game early, and they simply were not able to do so. This defense, however, is absolutely special. Let's be clear. This is not a good defense. This is a great defense. I love the 0-1 Bears defense with Ted Washington and Keith Traylor taking up all that space and keeping people off Brian Urlacher, letting him fly around. He had Warwick Coleman and Roosevelt Colvin next to him. He had Mike Brown behind him. That was a phenomenal defense. I also love the 0-5 defense that went to the Super Bowl. Another great defense. But this 2019 defense is the best Bears defense I have ever seen. Last year's defense is probably in a close second, but I'll pick this year's defense simply because they have a little bit more time on task. They've been together a little bit longer. They've gotten a chance to grow individually and collectively. Khalil Mack had a full offseason, as did Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith is a little bit better. Leonard Floyd, Roy Robertson-Harris. And so this defense is the best defense I've ever seen the Chicago Bears have. They are absolutely phenomenal. They're going to keep the Bears in every single game. The Bears are not going to get blown out of any game because the defense simply is not going to give up that amount of points to any team in any situation. So the Bears are going to be in every game. The question is going to be, can the offense get them an early lead? Because if the offense can get them a lead, then it's going to be scary going up against this defense. Then those pass rushers are going to get to pin their ears back and come after that quarterback with relentless pressure. You got those ball hawks on the back end, Eddie Jackson, Kyle Fuller, Clem Diggs. They're going to be able to jump on the ball because they know it's got to come out early because of that pass rush. If the offense can get this defense an early lead, it is going to get extremely scary playing against this Bears defense. Now, they were able to dominate Aaron Rodgers, who again, in my opinion, is the best quarterback I've ever seen play this game. The Bears defense were able to dominate him without any game-changing plays from Khalil Mack nor Eddie Jackson. Now, they were out there and they played well, but Khalil Mack didn't have any sacks. He didn't have any forced fumbles. Eddie Jackson didn't have any interceptions, any game-changing plays. And so without those huge plays from the 2 guys most likely to make those game-changing plays, the Bears defense were still able to go out and completely stifle the Green Bay Packers offense. This is going to be a very, very, very special defense to watch all season long. Now, the Bears did give up the 1 touchdown drive. And again, if you're going against Aaron Rodgers, if you give him the ball 10 times in a game, which they did because The offense was not able to sustain any drives. We weren't able to maintain any ball possession. We weren't able to run out the clock and maintain that time of possession against the Packers defense. And so the Green Bay Packers, although our defense was playing well, it kept getting the ball back over and over and over again. And eventually, if you do that with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to get you at least once. And that is what happened. But on that drive, there was a key thing that happened. I looked up and I saw that HaHa Clinton-Dix was not in the game. Deion Bush had replaced HaHa Clinton-Dix at strong safety. And listen, I like Deion Bush. He had a very good preseason. He's been a very good backup for the Bears since he arrived out of Miami. However, he is not a true number one starting safety in this league. He can come in, he can fill in for you here and there, but as soon as Aaron Rodgers saw him on the field, he knew he was going to attack him, and that is exactly what he did. He went over the top right where Deion Bush should have been, got the big play to get them down into scoring range, and then he threw right back at him again for the touchdown on Jimmy Graham. Now, on that touchdown, there was a bit of a communication breakdown for the Bears as they got caught with 12 men on the field, and as they were trying to rush that last guy off the field, Aaron Rodgers saw it, he snapped it, he knew he had a free play, and he threw it to the end zone, a jump ball to Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham boxed out Deion Bush and got the touchdown. But thought it was really important that HaHa Clinton-Dix missed that drive and was not able to be on the field for that critical drive where the Green Bay Packers scored their only touchdown. Now, Mitch can still be good enough for this team to win the Super Bowl. All he has to do is play complementary football to this outstanding defense. Lesser quarterbacks than him have played complementary football for outstanding defenses. The first two that pop into mind for me are Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer, who both played complementary football in support of outstanding defenses on their way to winning the Super Bowl. Brad Johnson played quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when that defense was led by Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, and Rondé Barber. And then Trent Dilfer did the same for the Baltimore Ravens on that 01 unit or that 2000 team that was led by Ray Lewis. If Mitch Trubisky can simply play well enough, put some points on the board, and not turn the ball over, this defense is good enough to carry him to a Super Bowl. He's just going to have to play complementary football just enough to do his part. Now, that's not going to correct the fact that Ryan Pace took the wrong player, but he can still be good enough to help this team win a Super Bowl. I expect that he will rebound next week, and I think that he'll go on and have a pretty solid season. He has the tools, he has the athleticism, he can make the throws. He just has to do it with consistency, be decisive with his decision making, be confident in what he's seeing with his eyes, and make those throws. He's got a lot of talent around him on the outside and in the backfield. And again, I believe he has a solid offensive line. So he has the tools, they're running a good system. I don't expect the Bears to look as bad as they looked on offense yesterday, although I don't think they can look any worse than they did. But I expect them to play well, not only next week, but throughout the rest of the season in support of this amazing defense. Now, a few nuggets that I picked up in watching the game and also in the press conference. One, Nagy's growing separation between the offense and defense, it's really starting to annoy me. It's something that I noticed early on last year when he would kind of separate the two, as though he would say, he would use words like they and us. They describing the defense, us describing the offense, almost as though it's not one team. Now, I know he knows that it's one team and he wants the best for the defense, just like he wants for the offense, but it's starting to annoy me because he doesn't even know what's happening with the defense. He was asked a question about why HaHa Clinton-Dix was not in the game on that touchdown drive that we talked about earlier, and he simply didn't know, right? He's like, I don't know. And I don't think he was lying, right? I don't think that he knew that HaHa Clinton-Dix wasn't in the game. I'm not even sure he's paying much attention when the defense is on the field. And because of that, the reporters know that he doesn't know, and so they don't even ask him the questions. And so instead of us getting questions and answers about this amazing defense, we're left to just listen to this questions about this inept offense over and over and over again, and we should be talking about how phenomenal this defense is. I would like to see him start to bridge that gap. Stop saying things like they and us. Listen to him when he's doing these interviews. He always refers to the defense as they, them, as though they are something separate from him. It's one football team, and you're the head coach. I know you're the offensive guy, but you're the head coach, and I'm getting a little bit annoyed with this separation of the offense and defense. I want to see him clean that. Last but not least, I want to talk about Roy Robertson Harris. He has developed into an absolute dog. He is a mismatch nightmare up and down the defensive line. He can play anywhere you want him to, and he's got the strength and the athleticism to beat any offensive lineman, whether it's a tackle or an interior lineman. He played a phenomenal game yesterday. He's on his way to a huge season. He's going to make a lot of money in the offseason. I'm not sure that the Bears can afford him. He may get away from us in free agency this year, but I'm expecting a huge year from him. Speaking of that, in terms of the salary cap next year, I think the two players who may be cap casualties next year are Prince Amukamara, the veteran cornerback, and veteran inside linebacker Danny Trevathan. They are two guys who make a lot of money, but they are two guys who potentially could be replaced by younger talent. The Bears have been grooming cornerback Kevin Tolliver for a couple of years now, and if he takes advantage of his opportunities this season when they come, the Bears may feel comfortable letting Prince Amukamara lead and letting a younger, more expensive cornerback like Kevin Tolliver take over opposite Cal Fuller. Same thing with Danny Trevathan. The Bears have some young linebackers at the inside that they really like. Josh Woods, E.A. Boonaway, and Nick Kwiatkowski are guys that the Bears feel comfortable with, and you put them next to Roquan Smith, and you can still have a formidable duo at inside linebacker. So those are two guys that if the Bears need to save money to do something like, I don't know, sign Roy Robertson Harris, then those are two guys who could potentially be cap casualties. Last thing I want to mention before we get out of here is that Eddie Pinheiro had the opportunity to take a 51-yard field goal, and the Bears declined the opportunity. I thought that they should have went ahead and attempted the field goal. Now, in the post-game press conference, Matt Nagy explained it and said, well, he was beyond his number. Every game, going into the game, special teams coordinator Chris Tabor gives Matt Nagy a number that he feels comfortable with the kicker kicking, and apparently 51 yards was beyond that number. Now, if he's not going to be able to hit a 51-yard kick on a calm night in early September, then why keep him? Because it's only going to get worse at Soldier Field as it gets colder and windier. So if he can't do it on a calm night like that, then why is he around, right? I simply think that the Bears are trying to do everything they can to maintain his confidence. You can't babysit him like that. You have to go out there and let him kick. Now, the kick, if he had made it, would have only made the score 7-6. It would not have tied the game or given the Bears the lead, which is another explanation that Matt Nagy gave for it on today's press conference. But following the game, he simply said it was beyond the number that they had already decided. I think they're going to have to take the training wheels off of Eddie Pinheiro. Let him get out there and show what he can do. He's got a strong leg. That's what we hear about him, that he has a strong leg. He had a 58-yarder in the preseason. Give him the opportunity and see what he can do. And I think that he'll, step up to the occasion and make the kick. I believe he would have made the 51-yarder yesterday. I just think that they didn't want to put him in any position to where they can potentially hurt his confidence. But I also think that Matt Nagy was just trying everything he could to get that offense rolling and believing, hey, we got to get some touchdowns here and not just field goals. If you aren't going to let him try a 51-yard field goal on a calm night in Chicago, when are you going to let him try it? Bears dropped their opening game. Should still be a great season for them. They had an opportunity to come out and make a great statement in week 1 against their arch rival, Green Bay Packers. They let that opportunity slip through their fingers. I expect them to bounce back and play really well next week and ultimately go on to still have a very successful season. But they're going to have to get back to the drawing board. They're going to have to find ways to run the ball more often. 45 passes for Mitch Trubisky. I think they had 53 dropbacks in total. Only 12 runs were called, and that's just not good enough. You got Tariq Cohen, you got David Montgomery, Mike Davis. You're going to have to run the ball and have some type of balance. This wasn't a game where you were blown out and have to throw it all around over the field. This was a 3-point game, a 7-point game. You have to be able to run the football to maintain some balance. And so hopefully they'll get back to the drawing board. That defense is going to be what they are each and every week. So the Bears will be fine going forward. They just have to make sure that they stay together, keep improving on the offense, and keep supporting that defense as best as you can. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been Bear With Me. My name is Herb Howard. Until next time, thanks for watching.